So now I plug A, B, and C into the Pythagorean theorem that I have over here. So A is 12 squared plus B, which is 5, so 5 squared equals C squared, which is going to be X squared. Then in your calculator, you need to do 12 squared plus 5 squared. So what's 12 squared plus 5 squared?
13 squared.
No. 169. So 169 equals X squared. Then to solve for X, what do I need to do?
5. Oh, squared.
Squared.
And you get 13.
X would be 13.
Not right there. Not right.
Okay. So if you have one like the next one, if you have two tangents that meet at the same exterior point, then the segments are equal. So in this picture, these two segments are the same. Anytime you have tangents outside like that, they would be the same. So to solve for X on that, you just set them equal to each other. So 3X minus 10 equals 2X plus 5.
Add 10.
So now that you've set them equal, you will do inverse operations. Add 10,
Subtract 2.
subtract 2X.
8 equals 15.
You would get X equals 15.
Period.
Okay. So down in the examples, number 1 asks to determine if segment AB is a tangent segment. In order to do that, you're going to do Pythagorean theorem and see if Pythagorean theorem works. If it does, then it is a tangent. If it does not, then it's no. So what we're going to do, what would my C be? If we were looking at this, where would my right angle be? At A, B, or C? A. That would be my right angle if this is a tangent. So what's my C? 10. So these two are just my A's and B's, doesn't matter which one's which. So I'm going to have 6 squared plus 8 squared equals 10 squared. So notice I have a number with each variable. I'm just trying to simplify this side, and see if they're equal. So what's 6 squared plus 8 squared?
100.
What's 10 squared?
100.
100 equals 100. They're the same, so yes, that would be a tangent. So when you have two tangents outside that meet at one point, that means that they are equal. So x squared equals 9. Take the square root of both sides. What does x equal? 3.
What is this? Does he already? Oh my gosh.
Okay. So on number 3, notice that it shows that this little part right here, this one right here is 5. So that means that this part is what? 2. Well, that little part is 5, so the whole thing is what? 10. So there's my right angle. Where would C be? The x, the 10, or the 13? 13. Remember, the longest side is always the hypotenuse. So 10 definitely couldn't be the hypotenuse. So now I'm going to have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So x squared plus 10 squared equals 13 squared.
69.
So inverse operations, subtract that 10 squared. Remember, when you put that in the calculator, you need to be doing 13 squared minus 10 squared. Don't do 13 minus 10 then squared. It's gonna give you the wrong answer. So what's 13 squared minus 10 squared?
69.
69. Square root that. What's the square root of 69 give you? Round to one decimal place.
8.3.
8.3. On number 4, this part right here is the radius, it's 4. So what is this one over here?
4.
4. And what would this whole side be?
12.
X plus 4. Combine x plus 4. So, now what would my radius be? X plus 4, 4, or 10? 4.
X plus, no, it's just.
My radius
14.
is 4, but what's my hypotenuse? 4. X plus 4.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that this thing equals C, and I'm going to call this A and this B. So I'm going to have 4 squared plus 10 squared equals, and you could put in x plus 4 squared, but if you do that, you're going to have to end up squaring a binomial, and then you're going to have to factor, which I don't really want to do. So I'm just going to say C squared. I'm just going to leave that whole thing as C squared. So now I'm going to solve for C. So 4 squared plus 10 squared. 4 squared is 16. 10 squared is 100. 100 plus 16 is 116. So 116 equals C squared. Square root that. And what does C equal? 10.8. So now I need to solve for x. So I know C equals x plus 4 and C equals 10.8. What am I going to set x plus 4 equal to?
10.8 equals x plus 4.
Yep. X plus 4 equals 10.8. Subtract the 4. We get x equals 6.8.
I got 10.2.
Okay, so I'm going to do a few of these on the next page. Okay, so I'm going to skip number 1. Number 1, x equals 8. Just do the Pythagorean theorem on that. On number 2, I need to see if DE is a tangent. So I need to first find what A, B, and C are. C would be the 24, because at the angle at D would be the right angle if it is a tangent. So 24 would be C, the other two are A and B. So 17 squared plus 13 squared equals 24 squared. I need to simplify that and see if they equal the same thing. Okay. Number 3, both segments are tangent. Solve for x. If they're both outside, we know that they are equal. So we set them equal to each other. So 10x plus 3 equals 12x minus 3.
Minus 2 plus 2. Right?
So subtract 10x
Plus 3.
and add the 3.
Yeah.
So I have 6 equals 2x. So what does x equal? Positive. X equals 3. It creates a right angle. So there's a right angle at K. Now how could I solve for x?
180. I mean, yeah.
180 minus 90 minus 38. So what would x equal?
I was so easy. You just have to keep it away.
Okay, so on number 5, we have 2 tangents on the sides. So that means these are 90-degree angles. What do all 4 angles of a quadrilateral equal? 360, right? What's 360 minus 90 minus 90? Taking away those 2 right angles.
180
180.
minus
So
100.
anytime you have a quadrilateral with 2 tangents like that, these 2 angles on the points are always going to add to equal 180. If you forgot that, you could always do 360 minus 100 minus 90 minus 90. But since you know that those 2 angles add to equal 180 now, you can just do 180 minus 100. And what would x equal? 80. Okay, number 6. We're gonna skip that one, but the answer is yes. And then number 7, I need to solve for x. In order to solve for x, I need to know that this would be my right angle, and then I need to know this whole side. What would this little part right here equal?
9.6.
9.6. So if that little part's 9.6, what's that whole side? 9.6 plus 5.
14.6. Wait, can you do that?
So 14.6. So now 14.6 will be my C. My other 2 will be my A and my B. So I'll set up Pythagorean theorem with that. X squared plus 9.6 squared equals 14.6 squared. So subtract that 9.6 squared from both sides.
121.
And you will get x squared equals 121.
That means x equals,
Square root it.
that's it,
Yes,
11.
x does equal 11.
Another one.
Okay, and then there's the answers for 8 and 9.
So do you want us on sad?
Huh?
Do you want us on sad? We're only gonna walk in the door 10 more times. That's good. Yeah, thought I was done for a second, yeah.
I was like, there's more than 10 days. There's 11,
But it's
12 candidates.
good.
Then I had to think, you're gonna walk in, you already did that too.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna skip page
Yeah,
19, and I'm gonna look at one of these on page 13.
Is the final just 5 cards?
19?
Yeah, I'm skipping 19, sorry. Skipping 19, go into page 20, and I'm gonna do number 13 on page 20. But I just want you to see one like this. So number 13 on page 20. So what it wants you to do is find the perimeter of that quadrilateral that is, that has the circle around it, or circle inside of it. So, what would each of those lines be on this circle? What kind of line is that? A tangent. What kind of line is that? Tangent, tangent, tangent. What do we know about these two parts of if they're tangents? They're not 90, they're equal. They're the same right here. These two are the same, these two are the same, and these two are the same. So if this one's 17, this one right here is 17. If this one's 2.5, this one right here is 2.5. So now I need to find this part and this part. What's 29 minus 17?
12.
12. So if that part's 12, this one's 12. So what would this whole side over here
What question
be?
are we on?
Huh?
What question? 14.
13.
On page 20.
On page 20, number 13. Okay, so 29 minus 17 gives me 12 for this part. If this part's 12, this part's 12. So I want to know what this whole BC is. What's 12 plus 2.5?
14.5.
14.5. So right now, I have this side is 21, this side's 29, this side's 14.5. I need to find this whole side. So if this is 17 and this is 21, 21 minus 17 will give me this little part.
4.
21 minus 17 is 4, so this part's 4. So what's the whole side BC?
4 plus 2.5.
6.5.
Yes, 4 plus 2.5 gives you 6.5. So now I have all four sides. To find the perimeter, add up all four sides.
Yes, that was one.
So 21 plus 29 plus 14.5 plus 6.5. So my perimeter would be 71.
That's all you do?
Yep.
I
Now,
thought
one
it was
like,
pocket time.
one like number 16, you have to do algebra to find all of that. You have to solve for x and solve for y. Down here at the bottom, you have to solve for x by setting those equal, solve for y by setting those equal, and then plug x and y back in to find everything. But I'm probably not gonna give you one like that. But you could, using what you know from what we just did, that these are equal, and using that knowledge, you could do this one. I'm probably not gonna give you one like that. But you never know.
So how many questions is there final?
I have no idea.
You haven't
Okay.
made it yet?
Okay, so on page 21, so go into page 21. We're moving on from just tangents, and we're going to look at segment properties. So with this, there's three different things we can look at. Two chords, two secants, a tangent, and a secant. So when you have two chords inside, and you're given lengths of those chords, right? You're given this segment, this segment, this segment, and this segment. There is a formula that is part times part equals part times part. Okay? So, what I'm talking about there, part times part would be both parts multiplied of this line. So that would be 5 times x. Part times part here is both parts of the other chord being multiplied together, which is 6 times 10. If you look over there on that chart over there, I have it color coded a little bit different. I have a pink, a yellow, a green, and a blue to show each part separately. But basically, you're looking at one chord multiplying its parts, looking at the other chord multiplying its parts. So what's 6 times 10? 60. And 5 times x is just 5x. What's 60 divided by 5? So I was
thinking about it.
She even talking about it over there. Was she even talking about over there, Malou?
What?
What you talking about over there?
I said, that I didn't even know, like, what we was doing, and I already thought of it, right?
Okay, so when you have two tangents, you have two parts outside, okay? These are my two outside parts. We have the 4 and the 3. So, my formula is outside times whole equals outside times whole. That's the way I like to have it. You can do whole times outside and whole times outside. But I like outside times whole. So my two outsides are 4 and 3. And then I need the whole of the line, or the whole secant, I called it a tangent a minute ago. So I need that whole line. So what I'm gonna have to do is add those together. So I'd have x plus 4 for that top part, and then 9 plus 3 for that bottom part, for that whole.
And then you just throw the one on the outside in front of it?
So 9 plus 3 is 12, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, because we're gonna have to do it over here. So what I did, 4 is my outside times my whole, x plus 4. I already have it written for you. Outside 3 times my whole, which is 9 plus 3 or 3 plus 9. So I know that this is 12, because I already did it over here. 9 plus 3 is 12. So now I need to do the algebra. The almost 2 parts done, now I gotta do the algebra. What's 4 times x?
4x,
4 times 4.
16.
And what is 3 times 12?
I don't know that.
36. So now to solve, subtract 16 from both sides. 4x equals 20. What would x equal? 5. Okay,
This last now leave.
so we just looked at 2 secants. Now we're gonna look at a tangent and a secant. Basically, it's the same thing. Outside times whole equals outside times whole. It just so happens that the tangent, its outside is its whole. Okay? That's the whole thing. So what you do is the outside is x times the whole, x plus 0. You can just put x, but I put x plus 0 up there to show that there's no other part being added. And then outside is 9 times the whole, which is 9 plus 7.
X squared.
9 plus 7 is 16. So, basically, if you want to, you can mark out the things you don't need anymore. So, like, on this one, you can mark out this little x and this 9, because you really wouldn't need those anymore. That's going to confuse you with them being in there. You can mark out this 7, because you don't need it anymore, because you have this 16. But x times x is x squared. 9 plus 7 is 16. What's 9 times 16?
I don't know that one. Hold on.
144.
I didn't actually.
And what's the square root of 144?
12.
So x will be 12. Number 1, part times part equals part times part. Looking at this one first, because it has an x on it, I'll have part times part. So 8 times x is 8x. And then the other line, part times part, 12 times 6.
Nine.
So I have 8x equals, what's 12 times 6?
72.
72. What's 72 divided by 8? 9. So x would be 9. Okay. So before I start my formula on the next one, I want to find the holes for both of them. So, I know my outside on the top one is 10. What would the whole thing be for the top one? 18. Would I need that 8 anymore? No. Now 9 is the whole for the bottom. Well, I mean the outside for the bottom. What's the whole? 9 plus x or x plus 9. I know a lot of y'all like to put the x first. I personally like to put the x first. And then you wouldn't need that x anymore. Because you're already using it outside. Or as a whole. So now, looking at this top one, outside is 10 times my whole, which is 18. Looking at the bottom, what's my outside? That's the whole.
9, 10.
9's my outside.
9, 11.
The whole is x plus 9. Either way, you would need to do 9 times x plus 9 and 10 times 18. Those two numbers multiplied together equal those two numbers multiplied together. So, what is 10 times 18? 180. 180. 9 times x. 9 times 9. 180 equals 9x plus 81. What do I need to do to both sides? Subtract 81. What's 180 minus 81? 99 equals 9x. And x would equal 11.
What?
Hey, no, her too.
Who?
You looking right? No, there ain't no way you did not see her.
I thought you were looking at Destiny the whole time.
Ain't no way you didn't see her.
I was confused.
I was looking at my lead.
And Owen over there.
Who is writing right now?
Well, I'm saying he has his arm up. You know why he has his arm up? He can get on his phone.
You know this grade?
Well,
I'm just kidding. You don't need it. Your grade's good too, but you don't need to. Okay, so, on to number 3, looking at that top line, what's my outside part of that top line? 12. What would the whole of that top line be? 12. 12 plus 0, which gives you 12. On the bottom line, what's my outside? My outside's 8. What's the whole thing? X plus 8. So I have outside times whole equals outside 8 times whole x plus 8. So 12 times 12, 144. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times 8, 64. Okay, subtract that 64.
80.
So 80 equals 8x. X would equal 10.
What kind you going to today?
Right.
Oh, finger tomorrow. I know this. Piece of film. Stuff to say.
Why are you getting your teeth pulled out?
My wisdom teeth?
Does everybody have to get this?
Okay, page 22, we've got 2 segments inside, we got 2 boards.
Hold
So-
it in, bro.
Part times part equals part times part. Now be quiet. Okay, so part times part equals part times part, so 6 times what?
Shut up, Peter.
Minus B.
6 times x equals 4 times 9. So 6x equals 4 times 9,
6.
so 6x equals 36. 36 divided by 6 gives you 6.
That's blue. Blue hush.
You hush, but tell her to hush.
She done told me to
You're,
hush. She ain't
you're
said
louder than
nothing.
say hush than I told you. Okay, so
Oh, see, it's awkward, isn't it?
on number 2, I have my top line. What's my outside? On the top line, 5 is, and then my whole would be what? X plus 5. Then what's my outside on the bottom line? 6, and then what's the whole?
What happens if you multiply x by x?
So distribute the 5. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 5 is 25. And 6 times 10 is 60. Subtract that 25. So 5x equals 35. Divide by 5, and what does x equal? 7.
Lum. You're absolutely right.
Are we gonna practice some of these ourselves? You're absolutely.
When?
Later today.
Why are you trying to sit over there?
Okay, on number 3, what's my outside on the bottom line? X. What's the whole of the bottom line?
X plus 0.
X plus 0, which is x. What's the outside of the top line? 3. And then the whole would be 10. 3 plus 7 is 10. So I have 3 times 10. X times x is x squared. 3 times 10 is 30. Square root it. What does x equal?
Oh, wait, no.
5.5.
What? How?
When you square root 30.
Nine and 27 don't equal 30.
Where'd you get 9 and 27 from?
From 3 on the outside and 3 on the inside for 30. Wait. So you're telling me I did that wrong?
3 times
3 times 7.
That's 9. 30.
I don't know. That's a little awkward.
Okay. So number 4, we've got on the top line here, outside is 4. What would the whole be? 15. On the bottom, the outside 6. What would the whole be? X plus 6. So 4 times 15 is 60. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 6 is 36. Subtract 36 plus 60 minus 36. 1. 24, so I have 24 equals 6x. What does x equal?
4.
16.
How did I get that, for real?
Okay, on the next one. Part times part equals part times part. So x times 10 is 10x. What's 2 times 5? 10. What's 10 divided by 10?
1.
X equals 1. Okay, so there's the answers for 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we're going to go over to page 23 and we're going to do some with algebra. So I have 2 chords, so I'm going to do part times part equals part times part. What's 27 times x? 27x. What's 9 times 21?
189.
So 27x equals 189.
7.
Divide both sides by 27, and x equals 7. Number 3, still doing part times part equals part times part. So, if I do 18, what's the other part of the segment with 18?
7x plus 2.
7x plus 2. So I'm going to have 18 times 7x plus 2. And then the segment that has the 20, what's its other part?
6x plus 3.
X plus 3. So there's the geometry part. Geometry part's done. Now I got to do algebra. So 18 times 7x, 126. 18 times 2, 36. 20 times 6x, 120x. 20 times 3, 60. What do I need to do to both sides?
Subtract 36.
Subtract 120x, subtract the 36.
These are expired. More than expired.
So 126x minus 120x is 6x. And 60 minus 36, 24. What's 24 divided by 6? 4. So outside 7 and 8, what would be the whole for the segment with 7?
7x.
So x
7.
plus 7.
Oh.
And what's the whole for the segment with 8 outside?
8.
21 would be the whole. So 8 times 21. So 7 times x, 7x. 7 times 7 is 49. And 8 times 21 is 168. Subtract that 49 from both sides.
119.
I will give you 119. And what's 119 divided by 7?
What do I keep doing wrong?
So my two outsides are 9 and 7. So with the one that's outside of 9, what would the whole thing be? Okay, x plus 3 plus 9, what's that give you? X plus 12. Then the one that has outside of 7, the whole would be 6x minus 1 plus 7, which is 6x plus 6. So you have to combine those things. You gotta be careful with that. So 9 times x, 9x, 9 times 12, 108. 7 times 6x, 42x. 7 times 6 is 42.
That was so rude. You know what she said?
I don't wanna know.
Okay.
I'll probably be able to hear it on the recording anyway.
Oh.
So on this one, we need to subtract 9x from both sides. Subtract 42. So 108 minus 42. 60.
I think you understand.
49 minus 9x. 33x. So x equals what?
Listen, I woke up this morning, you know my F was.
So now this has a tangent and a secant. So the outside of the secant is 12. What would the whole secant be? X plus 12. And then the outside on the tangent is 18. The whole of the tangent is 18. So 12 times x plus 12 equals 18 times 18. So 12x plus 144 equals 324. Subtract 144.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it is.
I was fine.
I was just playing Kevin. I'm just playing.
It's silly.
Shut up.
No, you
Okay.
should be going.
And then on number 11,
We
you
can do this on
have
our own, right?
outside on the tangent is x, whole is x, outside on the one with 8, 8 plus 42 is 50. So x squared equals 400. And what does x equal? 20. Okay, so I'm stopping with that one right there because 13, 14, 15, and 16, in order to do those, you have to be able to factor.
I don't know.
So, I mean, y'all should know how to factor. If I did it, y'all would be able to do it, but I'm gonna skip those.